Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Pinchas from Revii to Chamishi. So in Revii of this Parsha, we have first the topic of Benot Slavcha. They were asking for Yerusha in the land of Eretz Yisrael because they loved it so much, but they had no brothers, so there was no son to be Yoresh for their father, and they were told that they will in fact get a portion in the land. And then Moshe Rabbeinu is told that he will be dying shortly. He won't be going to Eretz Yisrael. It's time to appoint a leader. Moshe asked Hashem for a leader, and he actually wanted at this point, talking about Yerusha from the Benot Slavcha, that made him think that maybe his sons could be leaders. Unfortunately, even according to the ones that said the sons were roy to be leaders in the Chachma, others say it's not proper to be fit to be leaders, but Yeshua was worthy of becoming the leader of the Bnei Yisrael because he was a Meshorish from Moshe Rabbeinu. He was very modest, and he was always in the base medrash first and last. He would put the Safsalim, the benches out for not just for the Rebbe, but for the students. And the students even thought that he was lower, but that's how he was because he was really on such a great level, so modest, and that's how, by being servicing to Moshe Rabbeinu, he earned the leadership position in the Bnei Yisrael. And Moshe asked that it should be someone who Asher Yotziim, Asher Yibiyim, that will take them out and will bring them in. So one explanation is that to bring them from a Yotzi is from a low level, bring them up from a low level, and then bring them into a higher level of Kedusha. But Rav Salanter uses this to talk about the generations of leadership and the problems with today's leadership, and he's talking about this probably 100 years ago, that it says that in the Ikfasa, the Mashiach, at the time of Mashiach, that the leaders will be Kepnei Hakela. They'll be like the image of a dog. What is this about a dog? Why are they calling the leaders a dog? Let's say someone has to go to on a way and they don't know where they're going. So they hires a guide, and the guide has a dog. So you have in front, you'll have the guy going where he has to go, and then in front of him you'll see the dog. And the dog, it looks like they're both in charge. They're both ahead of the game, the guide and the dog, but the dog is always turning around, looking to see where his master is going. He's actually he's a leader. It looks like who's a follower. That's the generation of leadership. They're doing polls. They're following the way of the opinion polls, what people want to do, and they're not giving the leadership in the proper derech. So Yeshua would be someone who would be someone who is strong, who would be able to take them in a religious and physical level, beat the enemies in battle as well as elevate the people. So Hashem says, "Vayomer Hashem Moshe kach lecha es Yeshua ben Nun ish asher ruch bo v'samachta jedcha alav." And Moshe is told to put his hand on him to give him smicha, to bless him, to transfer the power. And Moshe did this with such enthusiasm that later on it says, "V'yismoch es yadav," in Perek Chav Zayin Pasuk Chav Gimel, he leaned both of his hands because he did it ba'ava. And this is something that we should know about when the Kohanim, they bless the Bnei Yisrael, they should do it bi'ahava, with love. If they shouldn't do Birchas Kohanim if they don't love the Bnei Yisrael. And then it says, "V'nasata mehodcha alav," you shall give from your glory to him, but not all of it, because Moshe was on a different level. He was on a higher level, such a high level, different than any other leader, that he could speak to Hashem without any intervention at any time that he wanted. Others would have to use, and that's why the pasuk says, throws in the topic of bringing before Eliezer a Kohen v'shalo b'mishpat harurim, that he's going to have to use Urim and Tumim, because all the other leaders had to use Urim and Tumim to connect to Hashem, but Moshe, he was able to speak to him directly. Therefore, a few parshas before, when we discussed the end of the plague, that Aaron told the Malach HaMavis, you can't kill anymore, and the Malach HaMavis says, well, Hashem commanded what to do, and Aaron said that, well, Moshe said this, so why don't we just say, well, the Hashem should win, but instead it was Aaron told the Malach, let's go to the Moel Moed, and we'll speak to Moshe and find out what the story is. And so why did he have to go to the Oel Moed? Because it shows you that while Moshe could speak to Hashem at any point that he wanted, even an angel cannot speak to Hashem at his own wish. He had to go through Moshe in order to speak to Hashem. And also Mehodcha is that it's normal for each generation, because there's a spiritual attrition, that the generation that leads will be lower, to accommodate that generation, to be someone they can relate to, because if a person is such a high level that they can't relate to him, then they're not going to follow him. They're going to say, well, whatever he does, he can do, but we can't do it. But if there's someone who's closer that they can relate, that up here, Yeshua was only the fifth greatest of the tzaddikim listed in Parsha Shlach, yet he's the one who became leader, as we said, because he was Mesharis to Moshe Rabbeinu.